Alright folks, I hope you'll excuse the background, but I watched F9. Let's talk about it. Folks, I have a few issues with the franchise at this point, and they bug me. They do. The first thing is the lack of care towards character deaths and introductions. Dom's brother is a main character in this film. He's the villain. He's the main villain, and it's a bad idea to introduce him in F9 because he wasn't mentioned in the previous 8 films, and to bring him in as a villain in this one is absurd. It's ridiculous. All that said, it is partially mitigated by the amount of effort they put into Dom's backstory. It's not like they introduce Dom's brother as a villain and don't ever address it again. They provide good enough backstory to explain why he's mad at Dom. They explain Dom's really adolescence in this film, and there's a lot of connection between them that they mention, that they address, that they bring up, and I appreciate all that. Now, I mentioned my first issue with the film, but the second thing really angers me. I mentioned why the first one isn't that bad. It does bother me, and I wish they wouldn't do it, and hopefully they don't again. I'm willing to give them a pass this time for the reasons I mentioned. But the second thing really bothers me, and it's that no one dies. No one. And I'm not just talking about Han, who is brought back in this film. I love him as a character, but he dies. And the excuse they give is, it's horrible. That was a spoiler, by the way. I hope I put a warning there for those of you who have not seen the film, but it's in the trailer. So is it really a spoiler? I don't know. But the main thing that bothers me, and there's no stakes. There's no stakes in this film and it's exemplified in the very first scene, and they sort of address it throughout the film with the joke that Roman is invincible. He brings up that he's invincible. And the joke is good, but it's not enough to excuse the fact that these characters never die. And in the first scene, he's getting shot at all the way. I mean, he's constantly getting a barrage of bullets at him, and nothing happens to him. He gets hit with a truck, and nothing happens to him. And it's funny. It's a laugh at the time, but it's ridiculous. It is, and it means that there's no stakes. At any point in the movie, in any action scene, you can bet that none of our guys are going to die. And that's sad. And I wish they could, of course, make that different by actually killing some people. I think it would add some much-needed flair to the movies. It would add some stakes. It would make it more interesting when you go to see a Fast and Furious movie in the theater. Not to say I didn't enjoy it, and I'll get into that later, but that definitely really bothered me. I think a movie needs stakes to thrive, and that bothered me. Again, all that said, this is the kind of blockbuster that I've come to know, to love, and to expect from the Fast saga. Justin Lin is back. He's the director of, I believe, from Tokyo Drift to Fast and Furious 6, and now he's back. And Fast 5, Fast 6, I love those movies. Fast and Furious, the fourth one, I liked a little. I liked 2. Tokyo Drift, not so much. But I think he's just great for this franchise. I really like him. I hope they continue with him, and I think he brings back a lot of what I liked in Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6. I have a small nitpick. They keep mentioning Brian, how he's alive. They mention it quite a bit in this film, actually, not so much in Fast and Furious 8, I feel like. But I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would just have him canonically dead. It is, of course, a little late now. It would have been a good time to do it. And Fast and Furious 7. But, it's getting... he shows that, his car drives into the driveway at the end. It's pretty ridiculous. I didn't love the character of Cypher in F8, Fate. But she's alright in this one as sort of the creepy mastermind locked away. I will say this. I really disliked Tokyo Drift. I'll have my Fast and Furious ranking if you're watching this when it comes out. And you will see how much I disliked it. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy the consistency, the continuity within the films, because they bring back Tokyo Drift characters and they actually play a pretty sizable part. And while, I like the characters in the original movie, I suppose enough, but it's good to see them here. It's good to have that sense of continuity within the franchise. I love it. And I'm just excited to see, I presume when the franchise ends, you're really going to get all the characters that we've come to know and love teaming up. And that's the kind of stuff I appreciate. Every time they showed up on screen, I was just amazed that so many years ago, a decade plus ago that these characters are back now. The action and car scenes are creative and fun. What more could you want? What more could you want? And some movies really, the Fast and Furious movies are good at that. They kind of have to be because they are car movies. But I appreciate, and they lean a little too much into the whole magnet thing here, but they're still good. They're not the best of the franchise, but they're good. There are a few random appearances of like pretty famous people in this movie, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. The scenes themselves are okay, but they do feel very forced in, just for the sake of a few minutes of exposition. Like, to be honest, we definitely didn't need the Helen Mirren one, but the Cardi B one is even worse because he gets arrested, and then the minute later we find out that they aren't actually Interpol with no explanation, and he's just let go. What was the point? Just let him go. Just let him escape. I mean, it really makes no sense, but whatever. Folks, for all of F9's faults, the franchise's fault as well, really, all of the two flaws that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's enjoyable. It's a good time. It is. It's fun. And what more could you want? You know, it explains that one flaw that I had particularly well. And so my really only issue is the stakes removed. It's a big issue, to be fair, but it could be worse. I had a great time with F9, folks. I'm going to have to give it a B easily. I don't think it could be anything less than a B. It would be one of my favorite entries into the franchise if they threw in a few character deaths every now and then, or if they actually made it, semi-realistic in terms of damage, in terms of violence. They don't, and it suffers, but I still enjoyed it very much. F9, a B. All right, folks, that's my review of F9. Let me know what you thought about it. This one I've definitely been seeing. I was not very excited to go into it because I had heard horrible things, and I liked it quite a bit more than I thought I would. But Justin Lin, seeing Justin Lin's name as the director definitely alleviated some of my worries there, folks. I've been EDPC Reviews. The fan just turned on, so if you heard that, that's why. You've been amazing. I will see you in the next Fast and Furious movie because we're all going to be there. How else are they going to be bigger? They can't get bigger. They went to space, for God's sake. They need everyone on Earth to be in it, and I'm going to be in it. I got my invite. I hope you got yours. And if you did, I'll see you there in the next video. Bye-bye.